We've got some breaking news out of the NFL where the 49ers have agreed to a 3-year, $63 million extension with linebacker Fred Warner. That's the latest from our NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. His new deal makes him the highest paid off-ball linebacker in the NFL. Warner has been first-team All-Pro in each of his past 3 seasons and has the second most tackles in franchise history. He's also led the Niners in tackles in each of his 7 seasons with the team. Fred Warner is the 3rd big extension for the Niners that they have gotten done this offseason. If you remember, they also got a deal done with Brock Purdy and George Kittle. And let's welcome in Jonathan Jones here to talk about this. So the Niners, they give Fred Warner that extension, making him the highest paid linebacker in the NFL for the 2nd time in his career, JJ. So what does this tell us about how the Niners feel about Fred Warner and how they value him ahead of this upcoming season?
So on Friday, when Brock Purdy got his big deal at $53 million in average annual value, we said, be on the lookout for a Fred Warner deal. Should be somewhat easy as sort of deals where you're getting paid more than $20 million in average annual salary could potentially be. Little did we know, it just needed a couple days. They gave Brock Purdy his day on Friday, and now Fred Warner on Monday gets his day. It's very clear that the Niners wanted to take care of business in the spring, that this was going to be a different year for them than it has been in the past. We see right there, just before this deal, Fred Warner was at $19 million. He signed that deal in 2021. Then in 2023, Roquan Smith, after being acquired by the Baltimore Ravens, they signed him to a 5-year, $100 million deal, so he wore the crown for 2 years. And now Fred Warner, with this 3-year extension, $63 million, about 57 of that is fully guaranteed that he will see all by April 2026. Locks him in as the top off-ball linebacker in the NFL. It speaks very highly and it speaks very well of the sort of player, the sort of leader, the sort of captain that Fred Warner has been for this team. He's coming off his age 28 season, so he's going into his age 29 season. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see him at this level of play, at this trajectory, potentially get another deal 2.5, 3 years down the road, be it with the San Francisco 49ers or somewhere else. He is on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and so the Niners, having taken care of George Kittle, having taken care of Brock Purdy, and having missed out on so many free agents because this was going to be a slight reset with their books, take care of Fred Warner, where, frankly, it was simple. Like I just said, he was averaging $19 million per year. Now they bump him up to 21. That's not like Brock Purdy, right, going from that rookie contract to $53 million per. So this one, if you had asked me which one is certain to happen this offseason, I would have said that Fred Warner's was certain to happen because of how simple it was. And now you take care of all 3 players before we even get to Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, so as mentioned, JJ, the 3rd big extension over the past just few weeks for the Niners. Just talked about Fred Warner, of course, Brock Purdy and George Kittle. We just showed that full screen. That's a whole lot of money that the Niners have been spending in these extensions, of course, coming off of a very disappointing season that we saw about a year ago. What does this tell you with the Niners and their plans and what they want to do moving forward, that they're making it a priority to keep their core guys together?
Yeah, well, I think it's not just a priority to keep their core guys together. It's been a priority to take care of this now. There's no sense in having the distraction. There's no sense in having the training camp holdouts. And I'm not saying any of these 3 players would have potentially held out. But you don't have to worry about that. The last several years, the Niners have not seen a Bosa show up to training camp, or Deebo Samuel here or there. The Brandon Ayuk saga lasted forever. Trent Williams, at his advanced NFL age, took a little while. Christian McCaffrey, that one was more voluntary work before they ultimately gave him a raise after his fantastic season a couple years ago. This right here makes sure that you have your core group all there for your entire voluntary workouts, for your mandatory minicamp, the 2nd week of June, and then, of course, for training camp. We see right there George Kittle. That one was another easy one. They knew that Trey McBride was going to get $19 million in average annual salary from the Arizona Cardinals. Now let's go ahead and give this to a guy who's been one of the top 2 tight ends consistently in the NFL for the better part of the last, 5-6 years. But you see right there, the right column, who they lost. They sent away Deebo Samuel. Talanoa Hufanga, they wanted to keep, couldn't afford. Dre Greenlaw wanted to keep, couldn't afford. No one except the Green Bay Packers were paying Aaron Banks what he wound up getting. Charvarius Ward, he was always going to go get more money, and probably because of personal and life situations was going to see himself outside of San Francisco. The names went on where the Niners knew that because of the money that had been spent in recent years, because of the money that would have to be spent on Brock Purdy, having enjoyed the rookie contract there, that they couldn't keep everyone. But they knew that they were going to retain George Kittle. They knew they were going to retain Fred Warner. And they also, of course, knew that they wanted it. If you know all of those things, don't wait. There's no reason to wait. You already know that George Kittle needs to be a tick above Trey McBride. You already know that Fred Warner needs to be a tick above Roquan Smith. And frankly, you know that Brock Purdy, if you're treating Dak Prescott $60 million in average annual value, if you're treating that like an outlier and you're looking more in the mid-50s, the $55 million range, like a Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence, those guys, then $53 million for Brock Purdy, while still having the control of him for the next 5-6 years, that's a great deal for the Niners so long as he continues along the path that he has been on. So all in all, a very solid offseason after losing so many guys in free agency for the Niners, not wasting any time, not dillying nor dallying, but getting straight to it.
No dilly-dallying. They've certainly been putting paper to pen and making all those deals. So, JJ, this is a squad that went 6-11 last season. A disappointing showing for this Niners squad. You know, injuries were a big part of it. Their win total is sitting around 10.5 right now for this season. When we look at the strength of schedule, it's one of the easiest, well below 500. I think maybe only the Saints have a strength of schedule that is easier. With all of that in mind, and then all of these deals that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, what is the sense around the league with how the Niners are going to fare for this upcoming season?
I mean, they should be an NFC title game contender. Isn't that typically how it is with the Niners anyway? Don't they have a disappointing year, and then don't they basically go to the NFC Championship game the next? And then it's rinse, wash, repeat. You talk about that strength of schedule. I don't know if we have the schedule right now, but this is one of the easiest schedules, not only in the NFL this year, but really of the past several years when you're talking about it. And that's just the way that the schedule gods smiled kindly upon the Niners this upcoming season. I mean, look at that right there. Of course, this is based off of win percentage from the previous year. So most of these teams are going to improve themselves, no question about it. But we see right here, I mean, look at that schedule, right? And I don't mean to cast aspersions against any of these teams, but whew, that looks like if you have the Niners as a healthy team, and the injury bug, again, bites them seemingly every other year. But if they are a healthy team, I don't see why they don't make it to the playoffs. And yes, would you put them right there with the Eagles or the Lions? I don't know that I would necessarily go that far because you just want to see it. Right now, the last thing that we saw were so many injuries on this team. We still got to see how Brandon Ayuk recovers from that knee injury. We still want to see a little bit more from Juwan Jennings. Can Trent Williams hold up in his Hall of Fame career now closer to the end than the beginning? Yes, they missed out some on defense, but is that going to be okay? But when you